Because if I'm expecting what actually does happen, then we lose the plot, you know? So I had to get just very clear about all that.
We're so lucky to be kind of the last generation to remember life before social media and the internet and, being bored and like the beauty that would come from that.
I could root onto something. I could start to root onto the energy of him then and start thinking about the job. So it was good. It was a good moment.
To be with Darren, I mean, I'm working as I'm at a master class, you know?
There was this amazing magical time where there was like so much potential and everyone was like leaning towards the new millennium and the 1999 December 31st celebrations that I felt there's probably gonna be a lot of FOMO.
Asshole!
I can handle it.
You've played some really larger than life characters, particularly Elvis and Faye, but in this one, you play an everyman, a guy that I think is pretty easy to relate to. Was that a refreshing shift for you, and how did you kind of get into this everyman shoes?
I can handle it.
Yeah, that's really one of the reasons why I wanted to do this. It just felt very different than anything else that I'd done previously. And how did I get into his shoes? I mean, it was we had a long creative process, you know. A lot of Darren and I would read the script out loud a lot together, and you and I got to spend a lot of time together. And
Yeah.
it was just asking a lot of questions and just figuring out. Really, with this, it was like moment to moment understanding what Hank expected was going to be the result of every action that he does. So like, when I make that phone call, what am I actually expecting? Because it's got to be
Everything goes wrong.
I have to expect something different than what actually happened.
Yeah,
you know.
that's actually really interesting.
Yeah. So because if I'm expecting what actually does happen, then we lose the plot, you know. So I had to get just very clear about all that.
And Zoe, I have to ask, with the movie being set in 1998 and a time before smartphones and cell phones and social media, did that help you kind of get into the vibe of your character a little bit and to the world that you were in?
Yeah, I mean, I found it to be very nostalgic, you know, like I lived in New York for a long time, you know, I'm a kid of the 90s. And so, you know, seeing places like a Kim's Video and like places I used to go in high school, you know, and answering machines and VHS tapes on the set, you know, and the Nokia cell phone and all these little things that, you know, just reminded me of my childhood. And yeah, I miss that time, you know. I really think that we're so lucky to be kind of the last generation to remember life before social media and the internet and, you know, being bored and like the beauty that would come from that, and dialing phone numbers, remembering phone numbers, waiting for things, waiting in line, you know, like there's no way to explain to someone younger, like what that, like why that was so important. Like you literally can't, but like it
Even if
really.
you don't have GPS and you got to just find your way, and
But
then
you had to call
lost.
somebody and give directions, and like the amount of contact we had to have with each other, you know, having to call someone's house and
Talk to their
talk to their parents and ask if they were home, like so vulnerable and crazy. They're like, no, we're at dinner right now. Okay. We're at dinner. Cameron's at dinner right
Cameron's
now.
at dinner.
Sorry.
I remember
So
those
anyway.
times. Matt, I got to start, when you saw yourself in the mirror for the first time with the punk mohawk, what was that like, and did that inform your performance?
It was a good moment, actually. I remember it quite vividly. We're in the studios in New York, and I got back. We have these, like, you know, in those little dressing rooms, there's like the floor length mirrors. And the lighting was quite forgiving as well. So I thought, oh, this looks pretty cool, man. Then I turned to the side and I was like, yeah, man, this is looking cut, you know. And I was just really, I was really happy with the image. It felt clear. He felt like a really clear character to me at that point. And I felt I could root onto something. You know, I could start to root onto the energy of him then and start thinking about the job. So it was good. It was a good moment.
And Regina, I have to say, I think you're an amazing director as well as actor, but what was it like kind of stepping back into a pure acting role? What was that? How was that experience for you, especially working for a guy like Darren Aronofsky?
Right, I know. Well, I mean, it's always great. I try to like act and then direct something and then act and then direct something. If I'm lucky enough, it shakes out that way. I think if you speak to any actor, director, or director-actor that is working in both spaces, when you finish directing and then you go to acting, you are just like, tell me where you want me. Tell me where you want me to go. Oh, you want me to come out of the front door even though I was supposed to be in the bathroom? Yeah. Sure, I'll make it work. Because you understand what a director is up against, you know, like.
And then it doesn't become, but I just don't think my character do that.
Yeah.
It's like, I just fucking walk from there to there, man.
Exactly, just walk. You know. So I come into it with that sensitivity, you know, each time, and it allows me to shake off, you know, being in the editing room for, you know, 8 months or so until your project comes out, and you know, focus on something else. And then to be with Darren, I mean, I'm working as I'm at a master class, you know?
And I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about why you chose to make it a period piece, and how you managed to recreate the city at that time, considering it seems like it's very different than it is now.
I mean, one of the first questions when you take on a movie that's set in the past is like, can you update it? And very quickly, it was clear to us that no, this had to be about the 90s. I don't know, I was fascinated by the 90s in a lot of ways because it was such a, I don't think innocent is quite the right word, but you know, Y2K was our biggest threat. The Soviet Union had collapsed. The biggest controversy with our president was, did he have an extramarital affair and lie about it? You know, musically, it was super exciting. Grunge, of course, was a recent memory. Britney Spears was about to pop. Electronic music was blooming, and hip-hop was taking over the world. So there was this amazing magical time where there was like so much potential, and everyone was like leaning towards the new millennium and the 1999 December 31st celebrations, that I felt there's probably going to be a lot of FOMO. And people, you know, if you go to the movie for anything, it's to escape whatever's going on in your world right now. And I think there is something about that. Like, and of course, I mean, the biggest thing was like it was pre-socials and it was pre-iPhone. So it was like people actually connected. People actually said, hey, meet me on this street corner at this time, and either you were there or you didn't see them until late, you know, until you could call them on the phone at night. So I thought it was like it's relatable. Like it's not that far away that even Gen Z kids, you know, they may think they may not know what an answering machine is right away, but it's not that far of an idea.
The first like major kind of violent scene where Austin gets beaten up by Microbe, the fact that it inflicts permanent damage, I feel like, is something that you don't necessarily see in action movies, but people walk away with like from these terrible beatings with like a black eye. And I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about that, because that was the moment, because I hadn't read the book, that was the moment where I was like, oh, this is playing by way different rules than a regular thriller.
I love it.
What the did you get me into?
Thank you for that, because I think that's really a good observation. You're the first one to make that observation in a few days of press. And I remember that feeling when I read the book. Well, I don't want to spoil it, but you're going to do that type of damage to the main character, and you still want me to connect with the character, because that's actually a big ask. Because, like, you know, it's this type of thing you can lose, that it's okay, as we know. People go on, but it's like, it's still like really invasive. So I felt the same exact way when I read the book. And actually, I think there might have been very early drafts where we talked about maybe not going that extreme because we were nervous about it. So you're right on. It's a risky thing to do because it's different.
Oh, well, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. And like I said, I thought the movie was amazing.
I love JoBlo. It's nice to see you guys doing well.
I can handle it.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.